Hey guys, I'm just Joshin, and welcome back to Pokemon March Madness. March Madness? March Poke Madness? I don't know the name of the series yet. By the time it's out, you'll see which one I decided on. Welcome back. If you don't know what Poke March Madness is, or Pokemon March Madness, or March Poke Madness, if you don't know what any of those three things are, well then you probably didn't watch the first episode, which seems a little strange to me. You should probably go back and watch that one, where we did March Madness style brackets for every Pokemon, well, most Pokemon, in the Johto region. I explain more about the rules, what rules there are. It's very simple. I'll give you a quick little brief rule introduction here, but the last video was over an hour, so I very clearly went into the rules a little bit too much. Hoping that I'm knowing that today's is going to be quicker, because in today's episode, video, whatever you want to call it, of Pokemon March Madness, we're doing the Johto region. Maybe my favorite region out of all 8 Pokemon regions. Not necessarily my favorite generation, that you gotta include all the Pokemon and things there, but maybe my favorite region in terms of aesthetics. Johto region, absolutely beautiful. What do we do in Pokemon March Madness to fill the void that regular March Madness would normally bring? As I clarified last episode, not a basketball fan, don't really know anything about it, but I know that people make brackets. And so I found a bracket of something I actually know about. Not sports, but Pokemon. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving down the outer column of the left side, and then moving down the outer column of the right side, looking at one-on-one matchups, determining a winner between the two based purely off of personal preference. I will look at Steelix, I will look at Noctowl, I'll look you in the face and tell you that's going to be a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. It's not actually, but I will choose the Pokemon that I prefer. Click it, it will advance to the next round. We'll do that for every Pokemon on the left side, every Pokemon on the right side, and then we start moving in closer and closer and closer to the middle until a 1v1 matchup approaches beneath us. And I will definitively tell you by the end of this video, the #1 best Pokemon of the Johto region, the best Gen 2 Pokemon. Of course, as I said, these are purely my opinions. Please ignore the emojis up top. I don't know why those are there. These are purely my opinions. If you disagree, well, I have great news for you. You're allowed to let me know in the comments down below. In a nice way, of course. And you can also, if you want to, download. I will leave a link to this bracket in the description down below. You can click that link. That's a thing you can do with computers. You can click the link, you can fill out your own bracket, you can take a picture of it at the end. And by take a picture, I mean click this button down here that says save/download. You can take a picture of it at the end and you can send it to me on Twitter, in our community Discord, links to both in the description below as well, and you can tell me why I was just so egregiously wrong for whatever decision I make over the course of this, that you feel wronged by. For example, the Johto one just came out today, at the time of recording this, and my boy Make It Hotter, who we're doing a Soul Link with, which you should check out, let me know that one of my Pokemon that was in my final top 2 matchup, which I won't spoil here because you should go back and watch the hour-long episode. One of my Pokemon that was in my top 2 didn't make it out of his first round. So I'm surprised that not everyone holds the same opinion as me. It's like we're human beings with different functioning brains. It's kind of cool. Anyway, so I'm going to go through here. I think this is going to be easier. Pokemon in the Johto region, while I love the Johto region, kind of hit or miss, to be 100% fair. There's a lot of Pokemon in the Johto region that I absolutely love, some of my favorites of all time, and then there's also some that can't be forgotten in my personal opinion. I'm looking directly at you, Shuckle. All memes aside, I'm looking directly at you, right into your 2 little beady eyes. He's right down here, by the way, and he's going up against Lugia, so my poor son. I think Gen 2 is going to be a little bit easier. It's going to be quicker. It certainly will not be an hour, and there's just less Pokemon in general. We did Johto, there's like 150. This one, there's only maybe less than 100, around 100, however many it is. It's going to be quicker. unless I continue blabbering at the beginning, which I'm gonna stop in just a second. By the way, of course, we're doing this coronavirus, very dangerous, spreading across the entire world. You should absolutely stay inside and watch these videos instead. That's why we're doing this. Coronavirus canceled, March Madness. I'm attempting to fill the void for you personally with a little bit of March Madness Pokemon related content instead, so that you can stay inside, distance yourself socially, do not risk getting the infection or passing it along to people who you know, love, and care about. Together we will defeat this, but we're gonna have to stay inside and watch a little bit of Netflix and a little bit of just joshing on YouTube and or Twitch. Allow me to fix my chair. All right, with the little PSA at the beginning, thank you guys for the support in the first episode. I'm excited to get into this one. Without further ado, let's start making people mad. Okay, this probably will not make too many people mad. The other thing is I'm going to have, the further and further we go in the generations, the less nostalgia. There's still a lot of nostalgia in Gen 2 for me. Pokemon Gold and Silver might actually be my most nostalgic games. Those were the first games where, like, I played Red and Blue when I was a kid, but I was like 4 years old. I didn't know what the heck was happening, barely knew how to read, didn't really know what I was doing, didn't understand the complexities of building a team. I just got my Charizard to level 100 and thought I was real cool. Gen 2, Pokemon Gold is where I really first started understanding the game and like, enjoying the team building, crafting, finding, catching them all. I think I may have more nostalgia for these, but with things like the anime, you know, I grew up, eventually stopped watching a lot of the Pokemon anime, so I'm not gonna be able to hinge on as much of that stuff for my reactions. We're gonna get into a lot more gut-based decisions here. Starting with this one right here. I know that Ash's Noctowl in the anime has I'll be honest, Johto's where I dipped out. I watched the Kanto anime, I watched the Orange Islands, loved them. I watched like the first half of the Johto anime, and then I don't know why, I just stopped. I just stopped watching the Pokemon anime. But I know people really like Ash's Noctowl. And as far as early bird Pokemon go, as in bird Pokemon you get on Route 1s, your Pidgeys, your Spearows, your Talos, your etc. I do think Noctowl, I like owls quite a bit. I do think Noctowl's a pretty top tier one. One of the best additions in Gen 2, without a doubt, had to be the Steel type addition. Added to a few previous Pokemon to make them a little bit more viable, looking at you, my boy Magnemite, and also adding a few evolutions onto some fan favorites, including Onyx, turning him into this absolute metal behemoth known as Steelix. Looks like he could just eat through a mountain if he wanted to for breakfast, still be a little bit hungry afterwards. You gotta go Steelix in this personal case. I think you have to go Steelix here. I can understand if you have a personal attachment. This may literally, other than your starter, it's entirely possible that a Hoot is the first Pokemon you ever caught in Pokemon Gold. I can understand having a personal connection there. It's just a big steel snake and he's real cool, so I kind of like him. You know, we'll go on to the next one. Skarmory and Octillery. Well, sticking to a very similar theme here. The addition of the Steel type. Probably one of the Dark type, don't get me wrong. Dark type's real cool as well. The Steel type is absolutely fantastic. One of the best decisions they made. Added a lot of new cool Pokemon, including Skarmory. Octillery is very cool. I like that he has a move called Octazooka. Fun to say, fun to use, except I think it's only like 80% accurate, so maybe not that fun to use when he misses it all the time, but it's pretty cool. I like that in his original design, Remorai was a gun, and he was like a tank with like steel plating, but they changed it to make it more kid-friendly. He's a cool octopus, but he's no steel bird, so my boy Skarmory is going to pass this round and go into the next one. Yo. Actually a pretty tough matchup here. Two of the cuter Pokemon in Gen 2. We have the Water Electric type Lantern. We have the Grass Flying type Jumpluff. Kinda lame. Oh, by the way, if you don't know why these don't have any of baby not baby I think this one does. Yeah, this one has baby Pokemon. Each generation we do only has the highest evolution. So, for example, in this case, we won't have Remorai, but we have Octillery. We don't have Chinchou, but we have Lantern. That's just to save space and make sure this thing isn't 1,050 things long. So, whenever I'm looking at these, I will be taking pre-evolutions into consideration. The only time a pre-evolution will be featured is in a case like Pichu over here. if a pre-evolution was added in this generation. In which case, I'll probably just take the pre-evolution into consideration rather than the entire line, since we already did Pikachu and Raikou in the last video, which you should go check out to see. Maybe those are my, it's not my 1 and 2, but maybe, just maybe, they made it pretty far. We have Lantern and we have Jumpluff. I think Jumpluff gets a lot of unwarranted hate. Is Hoppip great early? No, it like only knows Splash. It's pretty lame early, but if you stick with it, you get it to a Skiploom, you get it to a Jumpluff. I actually think Jumpluff is one of the most adorable Gen 2 Pokemon and a very fun Pokemon to use. However, I said it a lot in the last video, it's going to be a consistent theme. I'm sorry, this is where people get mad. It's gonna be a consistent theme through most of these. I'm not a grassy boy. Grass types, never. I'm never one to gravitate to them. I don't pick them typically. And unfortunately in this case, the similar thing is gonna ring true. I like my lightning boy. I love the electric type. And I love my lightning boy Lantern quite a bit. Chinchou is a little hit or miss, I'm not gonna lie. I think Lantern is a perfect evolution, it looks really good. Both of these share kind of that similar thing. Pre-evolutions, I could take them or leave them, but I think they evolve into something really cool, which to me is much better than a Pokemon that starts really cool and then turns into something absolutely horrible. Looking at you, Fennekin, we'll get to you in Gen 6. I'm gonna pick Lantern and stop talking because I don't think really, I don't have a lot of definitive evidence to really back it up other than I like Lantern better. Sorry. All right. Ooh. I'm not saying ooh because of this matchup. I'm saying ooh because of a future matchup I just saw that I'm now horrified about that just popped up. I'm gonna throw up when we get there. But for now, I'm gonna keep my insides inside. And look at Sudowoodo Houndoom. Look, I set a rule during the first Kanto Pokemon March Madness we did. If it's an easy pick, don't deliberate on it. There's no reason to waste the audience's time. You sitting at home, I'm sure there's at least one person who's thinking about picking Sudowoodo, the lovely rock type who pretends to be a tree, but this is a literal dog from the depths of hell itself, and he's just extremely cool. I already gushed about the addition of the steel type. I would be remiss if I did not also gush about the addition of the dark type. Maybe my favorite type out of any of the types. So many cool dark types out there, and Houndoom's leading the pack. Not meant to be a doggo pun, but you know, take it as you want to. Houndoom is leading the pack with regards to cool dark type Pokemon. He's up there for sure. Yo, this one's just rude. Next we have the legendary bird Pokemon Ho-Oh and Hitmontop. Look, I didn't make these seeds. I didn't choose where the Pokemon got to go. They got predetermined who they were gonna get matched up against. And I hate to say it, but this is a horrible matchup for Hitmontop, a Pokemon that I love quite a bit. I have a soft spot for Tyrogue and all of the Tyrogue evolutions. I love all of the Hitmons. Hitmonlee's probably my favorite. Hitmontop is probably my second favorite. Something about, apparently I like kicking better than punching for whatever reason, but I like Hitmontop quite a bit. I like when he spins on his head like a top, and I like in the modern games when he's standing there and he's doing his dance kind of, you know the one. If I remember to edit this, I'll put it over my head and you can see him doing his little ice skating shuffle. It's adorable. However, I'm gonna have to chalk this one up to nostalgia. I'm sorry. The first time as a kid, I was a Pokemon Gold boy. Pokemon Gold first. And the first time I ever climbed Tin Tower, I believe it's called Tin Tower, scaling to the top, jumping over platforms, don't, hitting 1,000 Zubats as you go, emerging onto a rooftop and awaiting Ho-Oh that would then blast me with Sacred Fire and end my entire run. The nostalgia there is just a little bit too strong for me. I often don't go for legendary Pokemon. Like I don't care about them that much if I'm being 100% honest. They're cool. Like there's some very cool legendaries out there, but I'm rare to add one to the team. Ho-Oh is one that I gravitate towards to like a ridiculous degree for mostly nostalgia. but he's also he's just very, very cool. Very majestic, good looking, big old turkey bird. Makes me think of Thanksgiving, which is actually like my least favorite holiday. Yo, it looks like I have a crown. Okay, anyway. Next we have Piloswine and Slowking. This would be tough. Another rule that we established in the first one that I'll go ahead and reiterate here. If a Pokemon eventually gets an evolution, I'm not allowed to factor that in. So even though Mamoswine now exists, and you think I would factor that into the Piloswine decision, at the time that Gen 2 came out, Mamoswine was not a Pokemon. So I will not be factoring Mamoswine into this decision, which is a shame because Mamoswine is awesome. Piloswine's cool, Swinub's adorable, but without Mamoswine, there's not really anything there to really set it apart, and so for that and for that alone, I think I'm gonna give the edge to Slowking. I'm a Slowbro fan. I'm a Slowpoke and a Slowbro fan, and I think Slowking was a nice little branched evolution that they brought in just to spice him up a little bit. Plus, he's in that movie. Was it Pokemon 2000 he's in? I can't remember, or The Pokemon? I don't remember which one he's in, but he's real cool in that, so I'm a fan. Okay, this one makes me mad. Like this one just makes me furious that they would put, this makes me furious that they would put these two Pokemon against each other, and next they're gonna put Smeargle and Qwilfish up against each other, because that means that either Smeargle or Qwilfish is going to technically make it farther than Heracross or Kingdra. Makes me extremely mad. These, to get ahead of myself, these could easily be in the top 4 of all Johto Pokemon for me. These could be in my top 4. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to send one of them to the Shadow Realm in the first round. And that really, really hurts. Heracross, little bit of sentimental connection to the anime. Ash's Heracross, very cool. I like using one in a playthrough. Main downside, I would say personally, is you don't learn Mega Horn until like 57, and by that point you're already about to go face red. So by the time this guy gets a viable bug type move, you're pretty much done with the game. I guess he gets Fury Cutter if you teach it, whatever. He's great. Certainly becomes better in later generations. I have an extremely soft spot for Horsey and Sidra, and I already loved Sidra. Sidra was a great Pokemon. This is like a difference between Piloswine and Kingdra. Mamoswine really sets this line apart. Without it, Swinub and Piloswine, they're just okay. Mamoswine makes it a great line. Horsey and Sidra, in my opinion, is already a great line, and Kingdra accelerates it to new heights. It's an extremely tough decision for me here, and I'm very mad that I'm gonna have to do it. I think I have to choose Kingdra over Heracross. It's a decision that is not made easy, and once again, I'm extremely mad. It doesn't matter who gets to face Kingdra. Kingdra's gonna absolutely decimate either of these two garbage Pokemon. It really makes me mad. Even if it just, let me put Heracross here, and then let me make this decision, which would still probably be Kingdra. But it's a shame that Heracross is going to get yeeted this early. Just know, I love, even though you're not going to see him in any of the middle numbers here, I love Heracross. And he could easily make it in the top 4 in my heart. Anyway, this one doesn't really matter to me. These Pokemon are both absolutely garbage. I'll give it to Smeargle because at least Smeargle has something kind of interesting going on about it. He paints things. The sketch ability's kind of cool. You can use it for shiny hunting and things of those nature. It has some use, I suppose. What is your purpose for existing? A question I look at myself in the mirror every single day and ask. But what in the world, Qwilfish, is your purpose for existing? Because I'm having trouble finding it. We'll give it to Smeargle. As I said, not really going to matter much in the long run. Okay. Next we have a Scizor and a Gligar. It's just rude again. It's actually not. Gligar, cool Pokemon. I like it. I used one in many a playthrough. Suffers again from the fact that Gliscor doesn't exist. If Gliscor exists, this might be like a literal 50-50 coin flip, trying to choose between them. Without Gliscor, it's Scizor. His younger brother has Scythe Hands. We talked about Scythe Hands a lot in the last one. I do actually think There's parts of Scizor that get cooler when he evolves and parts that get lamer. I'm sad he loses the scythe hands and instead gets these little staple remover claws instead, like Mr. Krabs. But the red coloring, like, ooh, that's like my favorite color of all time, is the red of Scizor. He's a really sleek looking Pokemon, so I gotta give this one to Scizor. We have Ariados and Xatu. This one is actually, you think these are kind of meh Pokemon. This one's real tough for me. I have an extremely soft spot for Xatu. I think he gets almost no love. He deserves love. Look at him, he's looking for a hug at literally all times of the day, and there's no one there willing to give it to him. Ariados is cool. I was a Pokemon Gold boy, as I've said, and will say probably 30 more times over the course of this video, which means I caught Spinarak, I think, if I remember my version exclusives correctly, which means I used Ariados, at least until, you know, I grew up a little bit and realized that Heracross existed, and then I never touched the Ariados again, but for the time being, I used Ariados. And I think Spinarak and Ariados are really, really good looking Pokemon, but I just have got, you know, Xatu does not get enough love, and so for that alone, you know, a little bit of an upset maybe. I'm gonna propel Xatu actually to the next round. As I said before, probably not gonna matter too much. You're going up against Scizor, but you might be able to, maybe you could pull out an upset. Togetic, Suicune. Once again, huge soft spot for Togetic. Huge soft spot for Togetic. First generation in which eggs were introduced. First generation in which baby Pokemon were introduced. You finish the first gym leader, you go visit Professor Elm's assistant, you grab the egg, you hatch it, and what are you met with besides maybe the cutest little creature you've ever seen in your entire life? That does not pack much of a punch. All it knows is metronome, and it wiggles its finger, and sometimes it explodes accidentally. Run to the Pokemon Center, heal it back to full HP. But once that little baby Togepi trusts you enough, eventually evolves into this beautiful, adorable Togetic. Now, unfortunately, Togekiss does not exist. I think with Togekiss existing, you probably beat Suicune, but without it, I just don't. I don't think I can bypass this absolutely majestic. The three legendary dogs kick the three legendary birds buttockuses. Let me go ahead and put that out there. I like each of the three legendary dogs better than I like the three legendary birds, and it's really not close. And so for that alone, I gotta go with Suicune advancing to the next round. Okay, new branched evolution. A lot of branched evolutions introduced into Gen 2 as well. Nice addition, I must say. We have the branched edition for Oddish, where it usually evolves into maybe a little bit more melancholy, darker toned Vileplume. We now have the bright, cheerful Bellossom. Not much of a grass boy, if I'm being honest. You're cute as heck, but there's something about the derpy 2 dots and smile face of my boy Quagsire, and more preferably my boy Wooper early on. There's something about that. I really love this Pokemon. I don't know. I think that actually might be a pretty common opinion. I think there's probably a lot of love for Quagsire out there. I really like Quagsire. I think Quagsire is fantastic. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, this is where we make people mad, and I have to choose a grass type. I'm not much of a grass boy. We have Meganium. Most people would say the worst. I'm not saying that. I think a lot of people would say the worst of the 3 Johto starters. I have a soft spot for you in my heart because of Saria from my Pokemon Red 21, Red and Blue 721, Soul Link with our good buddy Totter. A little bit of a soft spot for Meganium, to be 100% honest. I seem to have a soft spot for Pokemon that don't get nearly enough love, maybe deserve a little bit more. My little onion son Celebi, however, is adorably cute. If you didn't shed a tear in the Pokemon movie, when they bring out, when Celebi sacrifices itself and it's writhed? What word am I talking about? What, the dried out, browned onion body of Celebi. If you did not shed some tears as a child, you had no heart. This one's extremely mean. This is a toughie. I think I hate choosing legendaries. Legendaries just always feel busted, which is why I don't use them in the playthroughs. And they feel a little busted here too. Gen 2 had some good legendaries. I think I probably got to give it to Celebi though. Totter's gonna hate me for that one, but it had to be done. Mantine versus Aipom. Aipom is a Pokemon. I've talked about all these other Pokemon that get hindered because their future evolution doesn't exist. Aipom is a Pokemon that is only benefiting from its future evolution not existing. I think Ambipom is one of the worst things that's ever happened to this adorable little creature right here. Looks like some radioactive science nuclear waste testing. You dumped an Aipom into one and Ambipom is what came out of it. Was freaking blown up balloon rubber glove hands. Oh, it's a mess. But Aipom, that's a great design. So is Mantine. I have a little bit of a salty spot for you, Mantine, I gotta say. Mantine in its picture has a Remorai under its wing. And so for like 150 years, I was convinced that to get a Mantine, you had to evolve a Remorai. This was, by the way, back in Pokemon Gold days, before the days of the internet. Before you could just look and be like, at what level does Remorai evolve into blah blah blah, and then find out it actually evolves into Octillery. I had to find all this out by myself, and I tried for so long. I kept catching Remorais and trying to evolve. I'm like, why is it evolving into this dang octopus? I want you. You were the prized possession. Because you have a little mythicality to you because of that. You know what, man? I'll give it to you. You're like a big old jet plane. This one's easy. This one is extremely easy, and it's Ampharos. Ampharos is one of the best Gen 2 Pokemon, bar none. Great Johto addition. Love electric types. It's a great addition. Miltank, I got nothing but nightmares from your nipply torso curling up into a ball, rolling out into me over and over, getting stuck on Whitney's gym for hours at a time at the ripe age of 6 years old, considering throwing my Game Boy Color out of the window because of it. I got nothing but harsh memories from that. So, unfortunately, I have to send you packing, Miltank. We have a Stantler and a Granbull. Pretty indifferent about these two Pokemon. Pretty darn indifferent about these two Pokemon. Granbull gets to become the fairy type eventually, which is cool. Stantler stays it's very samey. I'm fine. A Pokemon doesn't need to evolve to be cool. There's a lot of Pokemon that don't evolve that are very cool. Tauros. You don't evolve and you're not cool, which is like a double whammy for you. So unfortunately, Stantler, I'm gonna have to go with Granbull. Okay, moving over to the right side. Ooh, okay, this is not gonna be an hour-long video, I swear to you. Okay, this is a joke. I'm sorry, Shady Penguin fans. It's fine, I understand. I was there. We were all there. Join the Shady Squad. Sorry, Delibird, though. Totodile is the best Gen 2 starter. I don't make the rules. I didn't make them, I just enforced them. Totodile is the best Gen 2 starter, bar none. He actually was not my first choice when I first played. We'll get into that a little bit later. But he is my choice now and will be my choice forever after that. I love Feraligatr. What a fantastic design. This one's easy, so we move on. Corsola Magcargo, another one I would consider pretty easy. We're gonna go with Gary the Snail, aka Flamin' Magcargo. Corsola, you suffer from Stantler syndrome, which is a term I am now coining, patent pending. You don't evolve and you're not particularly cool. I believe in saving the ocean, save the coral reef, all of that stuff. I'm sorry you get absolutely munched later in Gen 7 by Marinis and Toxapexes. I'm sorry that you get just absolutely devastated. I should probably feel bad with you because of that, but to be honest, I don't. If I'm ever playing through a Pokemon game or randomizer and you pop up, it's pretty much instant sadness. At least Magcargo's like indifference. I'm usually pretty upset about getting a Corsola. I'm sorry. Okay, this one's pretty easy as well. We're gonna go Crobat. I know I said some mean things about Zubat and Golbat in the original one, and while Crobat has many of the same annoying features, Confuse Ray, Confuse Ray, Confuse Ray, Supersonic, Hypnos. While you may have to deal with some of the annoyingness over and over, Toxic, over and over and over again, the design is just too sleek. It's too sleek, it's too beautiful. In my opinion, you can't really beat it. Murkrow is a great Pokemon. Addition of the Dark type, love the Dark type. Honchkrow, you throw that in the mix, this becomes a difficult conversation. Sands, why'd you say Sands? Dun 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 dun. Without Honchkrow, it's pretty easy. And it's Crobat. Shuckle and Lugia, man. They really want me to put all of the legendaries through to the final 8, don't they? This is, again, an easy matchup. You're never super excited to see a Shuckle in any playthrough. He's adorable. I would love to, if Pokemon were real, I would love to own a Shuckle, but not to battle with, not to use in any way, shape, and or form, but to just have it home and to be like, look at this cute little creature that I have. This is a fearsome demon of the sea, and I absolutely would choose Lugia every single day. Even though I was a Pokemon Gold boy, I'm gonna say that Pokemon Silver doesn't also have a little bit of charm on me as well. And in Pokemon Gold, you get to go to the Whirl Islands and go check out Lugia afterwards. That's a nice little after-the-fact cherry on top of the cake type of thing. So I'm gonna pick Lugia. Espeon, Pichu. I like electric types. Pichu, you're cute in the movie, the one with Entei, you know the one I'm talking about, the little skit beforehand. You're cute. Espeon is just a beautiful evolution. Probably my second favorite one, if I had to decide. Umbreon's pretty darn close, but Espeon is probably my number 2 one. Behind Jolteon, which we talked about last time. Pichu, you're cute, but it's not quite enough to get it done. We have Blissey and Unknown. 2 Pokemon I don't particularly care about. You know, it's cool, a cool addition. I'm glad Chansey got a little bit extra going on for it. Got some fancy little wings. I don't know what you would skirt. I don't know what you want to call those things. A fancy tutu, something like that. I'm gonna give it to Unknown. Again, if either of these 2 popped up in a Let's Play, I'm probably upset either way. I'm probably more upset with the Unknown. But Unknown has some at least cool lore behind it. I'm really honing into Pokemon the Movie 3. Pokemon 3 the Movie, whatever it's called, with Entei. That one was one of my favorites as a kid, and the Unknown are a pretty big part of that. Ruins of Valve, a little bit of mystery there, solving the puzzles inside the thing, putting the glyphs together, getting the cool stuff, trying to collect every single letter of the alphabet. While they're not particularly viable Pokemon, I at least respect the concept. This is just mean. Stop doing this to me. Stop doing this to me. I really like Meryl and Azumarill. I really like Meryl and Azumarill. I did not as a kid, but as I've grown older and older, I've really grown. Maybe it's because they added the fairy typing. I don't know what exactly. Just recently, past couple years, I started setting them apart. I really like Meryl and Azumarill. But unfortunately, again, Entei is just, it's way too cool. Entei is just extremely way too cool. I'm not going to mention that movie that I've mentioned about 16 times, but did I mention that he's in it? And did I mention that he's very cool in it? Not my favorite of the legendary dogs, but still a really cool one nonetheless. Like his little bracelets around his leg, man with fashion sense after my heart. This one is very easy. You may have heard me say this once or twice, but I'm not a grass boy. I'm not a grassy boy, and I'm certainly not a Sunflora boy. I'm sorry, Sunkern, Sunflora, not exactly my favorite go-to pair of all time. I gotta go with Ursaring on this one. Teddiursa, cute as heck, like the Yogi Bear effect of evolving into the Ursaring. Just a plain normal type, but a pretty well done normal type, in my personal opinion. Yikes, that's a juggernaut. That's a battle of the juggernauts right here. That's extremely tough. We have Umbreon, we have Donphan. We have Umbreon, we have Donphan. Umbreon, very cool Pokemon. People love this thing. I mean, people flock. miles on miles on miles to come see Umbreon, just to see him walk down the street. You shouldn't do that right now, by the way, because of the coronavirus. But, you know, once that's all fixed, people flock for miles to come and just watch this majestic creature walk down. Probably my third favorite evolution in the grand scheme. I'm including all 8 of them. Probably my third favorite. We have Donphan. You guys know about Phanpy. You guys know about my history with Phanpy. Adorable little elephant Pokemon that turns into this cute rolling tire elephant. For my entire childhood, I thought the Pokemon I know it's Phanpy with a P-Y. For my entire childhood, I thought it was Phanpy. And I still to this day kind of think it's Phanpy. I think they changed it on me just to try to trick me. I think it's a Mandela effect kind of thing and they just don't want to admit it. I still call it Phanpy to this day because it's so ingrained into my brain. The lovely thing about Donphan is that once it's evolved, I don't have to worry about it being called Phanpy anymore. It's just Donphan and no one's disagreeing with me on that. This is going to be a huge upset to a lot of people, but I am picking Donphan. Donphan is a really, really good Gen 2 Pokemon. Kind of forget about it sometimes. You do not forget about Umbreon. Everybody and their brothers saying, you hear about Umbreon? You know about Umbreon? Here's a picture of Umbreon I found. Nobody in their right mind is really talking about Donphan too much, and I think they should be. I kind of think they should be. This is a pretty lame matchup. TBH, Wobbuffet, get out of here. I hate everything about you. You've murdered so many of my friends across different Pokemon Nuzlockes, different Let's Plays, etc. I just don't respect you anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my man Mittens, my Ledian friend, through. This one's actually a joke as well. We should rename, I originally called it Stantler Syndrome. Let's rename it to Dunsparce Disease. Dunsparce Disorder maybe, because at least Stantler, like, is something. It doesn't evolve, but at least it's something. It's a kind of lame something, but at least it's something. You don't evolve, and I don't even know what you are or what you're supposed to be. Dunsparce feels like they were gonna put another legendary or like a pseudo legendary in the game to like combat T-Tar, and it starts off as this innocent little creature but ends up being this huge behemoth dragon. And then they just forgot to put in its evolutions. I don't know why you exist. Raikou, don't know how to pronounce your name, but you are my favorite of the 3 legendary dogs. Even though, why are they called the legendary dogs if this is based on a saber-toothed tiger? Yeti's gonna have a field day with that. Why are they called the legendary dogs if you're based off a saber-toothed tiger? Whatever you are, you're electric type, woogie woogie woogie. I love the electric type. You win. Politoed Girafarig, huh? Politoed and Girafarig, huh? This is a battle of the Mez. You do not have Stantler Syndrome. You do not have Dunsparce Disorder. You don't evolve, but you should. It's a shame. You guys ever watch those videos of like the cut content from like Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Gold, Pokemon stuff? They do all of them. Pokemon designs that got cut, things that are still in the code, etc. Stantler first of all, it used to be the ghost normal type, I'm pretty sure, which I understand why they changed that because it would be busted. But it used to have a pre-evolution. There was it was like a wisp. These 2 wisps formed at the hip, and then it evolved into this giraffe, and the back of Girafarig used to be just a reflection of itself, but a darker version, like a demon version. That version of Girafarig probably wins this. This version of Girafarig that we got is okay, but there's nothing special about it. I love giraffes. Giraffes are a really cool, really nice, not Pokemon. What's the real life version of a Pokemon? We call those animals. Girafarig's a really nice animal. A giraffe is a really nice animal. But so is a toad, and so is Politoed. He's just so happy, full of life. He bellies on his drum. He drums on his belly. You know what I'm trying to say. He's cute. Not as cool as Poliwrath. Poliwrath is bae, but you're pretty cool nonetheless with your little wispy hair. It's been 40 minutes. Are you actually kidding me? And I'm not even done with one side? What happened? Next Pokemon. We have T-Tar. We have Elekid. Love the electric type. You're not gonna, I'm sorry. You're just not standing up to my man Godzilla. It's not even close. T-Tar is like this gen's Charizard. I know it's lame to like him, but it's really not lame to like him because do you see him? One of the best designed Pokemon of all time, don't at me. Ooh. Sneasel, Misdreavus, 2 Pokemon that only get cooler when their future evolutions are added, but their evolutions don't exist in this game. I think Sneasel, Misdreavus is made when Mismagius is added. Sneasel only gets cooler when Weavile is added, but it's already cool as it exists currently. I'm gonna go Sneasel on that one. Totter's gonna hit me for that one too. Totter's gonna shred this list to pieces, and I'm sorry. Typhlosion Furret, that's not actually even that close. Kind of a joke if you really consider it. I'm sorry for it. You were a great HM slave for many, many years for me, for many playthroughs. That's pretty much all you exist to do, though, in my personal opinion. So we're gonna go with Typhlosion over Furret. We have Fortress and we have Porygon 2. I feel so bad for Porygon. When Porygon Z shows up, by the way, get ready because we're gonna make up for all of these years of Porygon slander. Porygon 1 did not win in Kanto. It was going up against Lapras because it didn't have Porygon 2 or Porygon Z. Porygon 2 is also not going to win because it doesn't have Porygon Z. But when Porygon Z hits the scene, you're gonna get your recompense. Unless you happen to be going up against like Yanmega or something, which is just mean because then I gotta pick Yanmega. I promise Porygon Z, you're gonna have your time to shine. Okay, that was a long time. I'm not gonna try to like rush through the rest of these, but we have less choices to make. It should speed itself up from here. Let's continue. We have Steelix, we have Skarmory. This is very tough. Not the only 2 steel types in the generation added. We have Scizor, of course, as well, and then Magneton became steel type. But 2 absolute behemoths going up against, why can I not think of the 6th gym leader's name? I'm sorry. Lighthouse Lady, it's gone. Jasmine? I'm sorry, Jasmine. I am for real, never meant to. This is why the video takes an hour, because I get Outcast songs stuck in my head halfway through. Going up against that Steelix was one of the most frightening parts of my childhood, bar none. Skarmory, though, is like the Pokemon that made me really like the flying type. There were some okay flying types in Gen 1. I liked Dodrio. Pidgeot's fine. Fearow, Farfetch'd, you know. Skarmory's like the first Pokemon that really made me enjoy the flying type more. I have to give it credit for that. It deserves credit for that, and because of that, you will be getting passed on. This is a Pokemon, if I see it in a playthrough, I'm instantly hyped. Skarmory, I don't know, just going on the gut feeling there. Once we hit this point, by the way, the matchups start getting really hard, and I gotta just trust the gut, and that's what I just did there. Next we have Lantern and Houndoom. It's not particularly close, I hate to say it. Lantern, you barely beat Jumpluff, you got no chance of dethroning the Demon Dog Houndoom. Again, just too cool. Dark type is like one of my favorites of all time. Fire type is also up there as well. You mash those 2 together, you get the goodest of boys right here, this Demon Dog. And the fact that you couldn't get a Houndour until the post game in Gold and Silver made me so mad. So unbelievably furious. It didn't matter for a long time because I always chose Cyndaquil as my starter, so I had my fire type. But once I became a man of culture and started picking Totodile and I wanted my fire type, it made me furious that I couldn't get the fire type I wanted until post game. But it's okay. That just made it like the absence makes the heart grow fonder, they say. And not being able to have you for so long only made me like you more. We have Ho-Oh and Slowking. Look, I already said my piece. Slowking's really cool. But there's something about that journey up Tin Tower. There is something about going up those stairs, being on, especially Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which I know that's Gen 4, but Heart Gold and Soul Silver is probably my favorite games in the entire series of all time. Platinum's close, but I think probably Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and that version of going up Tin Tower with the petals from the cherry blossoms fluttering in the wind. Oh, just, if that doesn't like fire your heart up, then I don't know what's wrong with you. This is a joke. Get out. Smeargle, just stop. I had to yeet Heracross for you. I'm actually so mad. We have Scizor, we have Xatu. Look, I said I had a soft spot for Xatu. The soft spot was enough for him to beat Ariados. It's not enough for him to beat Scizor. I don't think that's particularly egregious, so I'm not even gonna deliberate on it for too long. Scizor's gonna make it through to the next round. We have Suicune and Quagsire. I told you Raikou is my favorite of the legendary dogs. Suicune's actually the least favorite of the legendary dogs, which I know is probably an unpopular opinion. And you've got a little bit of a Snorlax syndrome, where I just kind of see myself in a derpy little Quagsire for some reason. It's a situation of who I am versus who I might want to be. Me in college versus me after college. I'm gonna be me in college for like forever, so I'm not in college right now. But I'm gonna go Quagsire on that one, because that's what my heart's telling me to do, and sometimes you just gotta trust your heart. We have Celebi. Celebi. Why? Why are you in here? And we have Mantine. Pretty indifferent about these two, to be honest. I'm now looking at this and I'm like, I would prefer a Meganium to a Mantine, and I picked you over Meganium, so I have to pick you over Mantine. I do like Mantine quite a bit, but just based on the law of applied nature, I chose you over Meganium. I gotta stick with you because I'm committed at this point. This one's very easy. We're going Ampharos. I'm sorry, Granbull. Just nothing quite there. I do not like Snubbull as a Pokemon. Granbull's better. Nothing quite there to really keep me tied down to you, though. Ampharos is just an absolutely beautiful creature. Catching Mareep early on in the game is one of the best experiences of my life. Considering best experiences of my life, switching my Gen 2 starter from Cyndaquil to Totodile is a choice I will never, ever, 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 ever regret doing. This is probably my favorite starter Pokemon out of any starter Pokemon in any game. Doesn't even matter. The whole line is absolutely perfect. I love a cute, adorable, basic Pokemon, a derpy middle evolution, and a BA final evolution. And Totodile, Crocodile, Feraligatr embodies that perfectly. This one's gonna upset a lot of people. Except for maybe my boy Not So Livid. It's gonna upset a lot of people. The answer here is Crobat. Crobat is a fantastic addition. Of all of the evolutions they added a lot of good ones. Crobat is maybe my favorite of all of the evolutions that they added in Gen 2. And I think if I was a Pokemon Silver boy growing up, maybe the draw of the Lugia would be there. You just don't quite have the pizzazz, the pageantry that going up Tin Tower did. Exploring the caves is cool. Finding you in your little den, that's fine. Not as cool as Ho. Crobat better. Okay, this one's a joke. I'm sorry. Unknown. You had enough to beat a Blissey with your lore. Your lore is not enough to beat the majesty that is Umbreon, so please get out of my house forever. Entei Ursaring. Entei Ursaring. Not particularly close. It's Entei. Entei's a very cool, fiery doggo. I appreciate that about him quite a bit. Ursaring is cool. Someone stole his honey. Ha ha ha. Not quite enough there to keep him in the running though. This one, okay, these are gonna be easy coming up. Donphan, very easy. Let in, you just barely made the cut anyway. I've already said my piece on Donphan. Underappreciated, deserves a little bit more. Raikou, you're gonna win this one as well. You're the best of the legendary dogs. I appreciate you quite a bit. Politoed, you're cute. You don't quite have enough to stand up against this thing though. Even though this man has run away from me so many times during many a playthrough, the feeling of ecstasy when you finally catch him, when he finally stays in a ball, feels so good. T-Tar Sneasel. If Weavile existed, this is a harder conversation. He doesn't, so it's easy. Oh! He doesn't, so it's easy. And the answer is T-Tar. Don't worry. Disappeared, but we're alive. The answer is T-Tar. And I don't even feel bad about it. Typhlosion. Fortress. Look, even though Feraligatr is my starter now, I still have some major nostalgia for running through the game early on with a Cyndaquil and a Quilava and a Typhlosion. There's certainly some strong nostalgia there that's going to keep you in the running, and it's just a Fortress. This thing has exploded on me many a time in my life, and I don't respect you for it. All right, we're up to the Sweet 16 now. We have the Sweet 16 going into the Elite 8. Who's gonna make the cut? Starting with Skarmory and Houndoom. This is where it gets extremely tough. This is where you dig deep. I've already said my piece on most of these Pokemon. And we're getting close to an hour, and I'm scared because I promised you it wouldn't be. I've already said my piece on many of these Pokemon. This is where you start trusting your heart. This is where you start trusting your heart. They're so good. These two Pokemon are both so utterly fantastic. They are utterly fantastic, but I gotta give it to Houndoom. Just a teensy tiny bit. I think the fact that you do not suffer from Stantler syndrome. Skarmory does not evolve. It does not need to evolve. It is everything in and of itself, and I love it for that. But I do think Houndour follows it's only a 2-stage, but you know, it follows the pattern of adorably cute thing, skips over the derpy middle, becomes this awesome, cool Death Hound, and I love you for it. Wait, excuse me, who's fighting next? Next is Ho-Oh Kingdra. Oh! That's tough. That's extremely tough. All of the nostalgia packed into the scene that I've painted for you many a time. I'm doing this for Heracross. Kingdra, you are going to defeat Ho-Oh in this particular situation. It pained me so much to yeet my boy Heracross early. This is Heracross coming in, just reminding you that even though he's not going to be anywhere near the middle, his presence is meant to be felt. He's the one that's gonna bop Ho-Oh. Actually, Ho-Oh would destroy you, my bug fighting friend. But still, you know, the thought is there. He's gonna take the Sacred Fire for Kingdra so that Kingdra can advance. Kingdra's just absolutely amazing. I've said my piece on Sidra, Horsey. You know I loved them before. Only better when adding the Dragon type onto them. What a busted type, by the way. Lose the Ice weakness, all you need to do is Dragon. Lol. Lose Grass weakness, it's busted. It's busted. Okay. Scizor, extremely cool. Bug Steel type. Quagsire, Derpy. Water Ground type. Am I? No. We're not actually, right? We're not actually about to pick a Quagsire over a Scizor, are we? I mean, that would be absolutely insane. Both have a quad weakness. Fire, grass. A man's wouldn't actually. No, he wouldn't. He's gonna pick Scizor. There was a pull deep within my heart that said, go for the Quagsire, you prefer that Pokemon. You take a Pokemon that I already loved a lot in Gen 1, like Scyther by itself exists to please. He's got Scythe hands. He's cool as heck, and you're gonna make him even cooler. I gotta give props to Game Freak for that, so we're going Scizor here. This one, not particularly close, considering how far we are. Hate to say it. It's Ampharos. It's Ampharos every single day of the week. I don't even care. Again, not a big boy for legendaries. Celebi got seeded decently okay. I could have easily seen Meganium coming. This could have just as easily been Ampharos Meganium, by the way, so don't feel like I hate Meganium. I absolutely am not saying that. This could have been Ampharos Meganium, and in that situation, Ampharos still would have won nonetheless. I just really like that Pokemon. This sucks. This sucks. This sucks. This sucks a lot. Like a dang Hoover vacuum. This one hurts me quite a bit. I have to pick my favorite starter of all time. I mean, I have to. Crobat is amazing. I love using it on the team. He evolves via friendship, so you know he loves you by the time you get to him. Feraligatr's just too clean. He's just too clean. I like that over time they've slimmed up his design a little bit. Man went on Weight Watchers or something, I suppose. I almost like the original chunky design more, but he still looks fantastic. And do not even think about adding me one of the cleanest shinies in the game. In any game. Espeon. Got Battle of the Doggos with Espeon Entei. I'm gonna give it to Espeon. This is where the legendaries start falling. My love for, again, I just don't use legendaries on the team, and even though you are a cool looking legendary, I would pretty much 99% of the time, I would rather have an Espeon on the team, even though they're extremely difficult to get. Actually, they're not too bad to get. They're like, actually, Embryon and Umbreon are like the only two evolutions you can get in the beginning of Pokemon Gold and Silver, because you can't get stones until post-game. For that, you get a little bit of bonus in my mind. No, but this is my favorite. You don't understand. This is my favorite of the legendary doggos. That's my favorite of the legendary doggos. And you're gonna put him up against my boy Don Fan, who's kind of an underdog. I gotta give him props for making it this far. He passed Umbreon, and that's extremely impressive to me. Is that gonna be enough to propel him past Raikou? I gotta be honest, yes. No, don't disappear on me, my son. I was sending you on to the final 8. It's enough to pass him through for me personally, not just because ground beats electricity. Again, I think now that we're narrowing it down, the Johto legendaries, without a doubt, they stepped up their game from Kanto. Kanto legendaries, you know, they're fine, nothing to write home about. Johto did a much better job with legendaries, but once we start getting into my core favorite Pokemon, there's like very few legendaries that are gonna make the cut. Maybe it's a personal bias of mine, but I don't value putting legendaries on the team that much, and so I often don't mix them into my conversation of favorite of all time. So Don Fan is gonna make it. Ooh, child, things are going to get only harder, not easier. We have a T-Tar. We have the nostalgia baked into a Typhlosion. There's a lot of nostalgia baked into a Typhlosion, I'm not gonna lie to you. But there's also some extreme nostalgia. It's one of my least favorite things about Pokemon Gold and Silver. They put all the cool Pokemon in the post-game. You can't get a Houndour until post-game. You can't get a Murkrow until post-game. You can't find a Larvitar until Mount Silver. You had to beat the game twice. And you can finally get a Larvitar. But the payoff to finally see one of these things, if you didn't bring one of these guys in your first fight against Red, I don't know what you were doing. I waited my entire time playing this game to figure out where to get a Larvitar. You finally get one. The final reveal of Godzilla is too cool to comprehend. We're gonna go over an hour and I hate it. The Elite 8 are here. It is time to narrow down from the Elite 8 to the Final 4. Johto was actually tougher than I thought. I think there actually was more nostalgia baked into here than maybe I originally envisioned. And that's okay. Oh, I knew these matchups were coming, but seeing them is what rips the heart out. My heart gets instantly severed from my body the second that I see the matchup. And the matchup is Houndoom versus Kingdra. When we get down to this point, there's almost no logic that can prevail. I could make an argument. If you told me, I'm gonna give you $1 million, convince me this Pokemon is the best Gen 2 Pokemon, and you gave me Houndoom, I could make a convincing argument. You gave me Kingdra, I could make a convincing argument. So when we get down to this point, it really just comes down to what your heart's feeling and your own personal preference. And I hate to say it, but a lot of it is dictated by this guy up here, this Feraligatr. Because I've become a Feraligatr boy over time, my water types are almost always taken care of. Previously, Quagsire, Kingdra would love to have you on the team. Perfect complement to my Typhlosion. But since I switched, took Typhlosion off the team, a hole opened up in my heart that needed to be filled with a fire type. And that fire type has always been Houndoom ever since that day that I made that gracious switch and brought Feraligatr into my life forever. And some of that's gonna spill over, and it's gonna cause Houndoom to win this side of the bracket. Yo, this is unbelievably hard. Yeah, that's what she said, whatever your vernacular is. This is extremely difficult. I'm not gonna add any logic to it. I don't know what words I could say to explain what my heart is feeling, but my heart tells me that it's Ampharos. Scizor is gonna win in the cool factor, almost without a doubt. He's winning class president based on the popular vote alone. Ampharos is sitting inside. He's in Stuco too, but he may be not the most popular one of all time. He's working on the school's infrastructure, trying to find a way to more effectively stem the flow of students in the cafeteria so everyone can get their 50-cent milks quicker. He's a little bit behind the scenes, but his work is important nonetheless. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Stop. Feraligatr and Espeon, really? Again, just making it into the final 8 is a compliment in and of itself. You've gone where many Pokemon could not have gone before, and that is something worth cherishing. There are a couple Pokemon that could have made it into the top 10, by the way, Hitmontop, Heracross, that got yeeted early. But these final 8 here, it's well deserved for every single one. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm looking, I think I probably would have picked Crobat over Espeon. It's close, but I would have. And Feraligatr beat Crobat, so I then, excuse me, update failed. Let's not do any updates right now. It's 12:51 a.m. It's not time for updates. It's time for me to make the hard decision. And the hard decision is to send Feraligatr into the final 4. Yo, this is gonna be a battle. Okay, Don fan. I appreciate you being here. You did knock off Raikou. You will not be knocking off T-Tar. Probably the easiest of the Elite 8. A great, great, great underappreciated Pokemon. Probably an overappreciated Pokemon in T-Tar. But it's well deserved. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have our final 4 Pokemon of the Johto region. We have a Houndoom. We have an Ampharos. We have a Feraligatr. We have a T-Tar. Battle of the Titans, to be 100% honest. The mighty, mighty Titans. Tennessee Titans. Okay, anyway. I played Destiny once. Left side. On the left side, we have a... Oh, I'm crossing my arms because I'm mad. On the left side, we have Houndoom. On the left side, we have Ampharos. Going up against each other. 2 Pokemon that could not be like more opposite from each other. Menacing, cannot get it until post-game. Looks like it wants to rip your throat out. Cute, adorable, looks like it wants to give you a hug. You can literally get it on like the 2nd or 3rd route in the game. Houndoom is like that. Houndoom is like the supermodel. Always out of reach, probably never gonna be able, no offense to you personally, but probably never gonna be able to get there. Maybe in a different life, but it's the idea of it that propels you, attracts you to it. Ampharos is the high school sweetheart. Been there for you through thick and thin, emotionally available, cares about you deeply. Always there for you. There's something to be respected about that. I gotta give it to Ampharos for that argument alone. By the way, these are not, no weird fan art. I'm not comparing these to waifus. No fan art, please. Just choosing my favorite Johto Pokemon of all time. And I think Ampharos is going to make it to the final 2, and it's well deserved. Look at these 2 just behemoths over on the right side. We have Feraligatr, we have T-Tar. We have Feraligatr, we have T-Tar. I'm not going to deliberate on it too much. Because the answer is Feraligatr. It has to be. It just has to be. It's my favorite starter of any game I've ever played of Pokemon. It doesn't matter. The joy I see or would see upon seeing a Totodile. Totodile is just so adorable. In the anime, he's absolutely perfect. And the joy of seeing one pop up on my screen never gets old. I know spoiler if you didn't watch the last one, Arcanine, maybe my favorite Pokemon of all time. If it's not Arcanine, it's Feraligatr. Which leads us to the final two, which I think I just convinced myself of, to be 100% honest. We have the high school sweetheart Ampharos. Beautiful, always there for you. So nice, wonderful. We have Feraligatr. And I would love to put more deliberation onto this for such an important decision, one that took us an hour and 4 minutes to get to. I apologize. This is longer than the last one. How is that possible? Yeah. How is that even possible? It took us a long time to get here, but I am pretty confident. I probably could have known this from the beginning, but this has convinced me that Feraligatr is my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon of all time. The best Pokemon in the Johto region for me personally. If it's not my #1 favorite Pokemon of all time, it's in the top 3. It just has to be. And for that alone, don't get me wrong, Ampharos, you're up there as well. Probably top 10, maybe top 15. I've never actually made a list. Could do that maybe after all this is said and done. This man right here is just crikey, mate. Crocodile Hunter. Top of all time. Top of the top. Top of the food chain. Which is funny because I'm actually horrified of crocodiles and alligators in real life. They're like living dinosaurs that are somehow still here. They're definitely going to live longer than human beings, and that scares me quite a bit. But removing my own personal fears and going into the world of Pokemon, I'm going to give it to Feraligatr. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Pokemon March Madness Johto region rankings. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm sorry this was such a long video. I don't know what happened. Which Pokemon did I get caught up talking about for a long time? Oh, spoiler alert, all of them. I do apologize for taking such a long time, but it's okay. If you made it this far anyway, I appreciate the support. Thank you for the long view time. This is like, I was like, I'm gonna take advantage of this coronavirus situation and produce some YouTube content because I have some extra time. And then what did I do? I made content that is so not good for YouTube. Nobody watches hour-long videos on YouTube, little 5-minute videos. But at the very least, every hour you spend watching this or any Just Joshin video is an hour. Hopefully you're watching it at home in your bed under the cubbies. But it's an hour that you're not spending out there potentially getting infected. And that makes me happy. At the very least. Link, of course, in the description below. I'm going to go ahead and save my version of this. Save and download. Here's my version of it. I'm going to save it. I will have all of these on hand. I'd love to see yours as well. Community Discord if you want to. Twitter if you want to send it to me. Links, of course, in the description below. Link to this in the description below. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. I appreciate it quite a bit. I hope you enjoyed it. Download. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider showing support in the form of liking, commenting, subscribing. All, of course, help out an absolute tremendous deal. Up next, we will be doing the Hoenn Region. I'm going to leave my thoughts for Hoenn until we get to it. I think the results may shock you. We will leave that for the next one. Will it be even longer than this one? It can't possibly be, right? Right? Only one way to find out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.